Now, while Drake, OVO, and all of their fans may have thought they were so up when SSS for You dropped, what has now become clear is that as the streaming numbers are coming in for this record and we are seeing how this thing is performing, that despite people initially lining up to hear the return of Drake when this came out, a lot of those people listened just to see how bad this record would be, as they have not stuck around for repeat listens, because when it comes to how Drake's SSS for You album is performing, it is way below what anyone would have projected, and because of this, Drake, Partynextdoor, and everyone around them is spiraling, because they never thought they would see a day where their music is doing so bad. And now, before we go any further into this, be sure to—
What's up, G-Gang? Don't forget to drop a like on this and subscribe if you're new around here. Make sure you stay to the end, because I'm going to drop my breakdown at the end. Let's get y'all.
Just as I said in my last video, the Drake fans are still very mad at me because they don't want you to hear the truth I'm about to tell, so please be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It helps me out a ton and it is more needed than ever. And so now when it comes to Drake and SSS for You, beyond hip-hop or anyone else's opinion for that matter, when it comes to the fall-off that we have seen in Drake's career and the shift that we have all been talking about that has been going on in hip-hop ever since Kendrick Lamar won the beef, there is no debating what's actually happening anymore because we now have numbers to truly see how this album from Drake is doing. And when it comes to those, they are genuinely just terrible because compared to every single Drake album since the last decade, this project didn't just have the worst first day streams by far with only a little over 56 million. But compared to the last Drake album, For All the Dogs, which had 108 million opening day streams, that's almost a 50% decrease in the amount of people who listen to this new album. And I mean, no matter what you try to say about this, there's no way around the facts. This is just terrible. And what is so funny is that after Drake tried to use these same number games on his diss tracks to dismiss Kendrick from being on his level, and overall from trying to prevent himself from ever being rivaled by anyone, he has now lost this game so much because not just right now is Kendrick Lamar's music, which has been out for months, still outperforming all of the new songs from this Drake album, because when you look at Not Like Us and Luther, they are still comfortably doing better than this entire new album from Drake, and even with 21 new songs out from it, Luther is still projected to take that #1 spot on the charts over every single—
They saying this Drake joint here today, going tomorrow. Sheesh.
One of them, which between this being a Kendrick song, and of course because it's a melodic driven one that does such a better job at being an R&B song than anything on Drake's new record, it's really just so funny that this is the song specifically that is finally gonna become a #1 record right now when Drake is competing with it in so many different ways. And from this to the fact that with over double the catalog size and a new album out, Kendrick Lamar is still outstreaming Drake, and he is just breaking all of his records, which is gonna end up giving him the ultimate title you can get in this era, as Kendrick Lamar will be the first rapper to ever reach over 100 million monthly listeners. And just the fact that Kendrick has never compromised his integrity to do this, and he now has almost over 20 million more monthly listeners than Drake has ever had in his peak, I mean, that is just surreal. And whether you want to talk about quality, impact, or just resort to numbers, Kendrick is really the greatest in any way you want to put it. And to quote Kendrick Lamar in his Super Bowl performance, what this is all showing is that no matter how Drake and his people try to rig the game, they just can't fake that influence. And now even if all of this makes Drake fans want to admit that Kendrick Lamar is winning too much and that nobody can compete with him off of the momentum of the Super Bowl, I mean, even beyond the current king of rap, this album is still flopping when you go down the list of top artists right now, as again, from big names who just dropped like Bad Bunny, who is still outstreaming Drake in total, to somebody like The Weeknd, who made sure to let the world know that his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, still has—
And that's big facts right there, because when you look at it, it was The Weeknd, Drake, and maybe Travis Scott. You had your Taylor Swifts up there and Bad Bunny. Now it's a little bit different. Now it's Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, and everybody else.
the biggest streaming debut of the year so far over Drake and Party's project, which once again is just showing how beyond Drake and Kendrick, Drake is losing to so many other artists right now who he tried to diss. And when you compare Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is an amazing record, to SS for You, I mean, it's no surprise why this thing outperformed Drake's, because in every single aspect possible, this R&B album is an early album of the year candidate. And now beyond really who are arguably the biggest artists out right now in not just Kendrick, but also Bad Bunny and The Weeknd, if we look down the list and really figure out how bad Drake is doing even more, his numbers are not just down for his own standards or when you compare them to the biggest stars out. But now so many other rappers and the recent work they have released has passed him by far, as compared to a record like Tyler the Creator's Chromacopia even. That record opened up with over 80 million streams on its first day, and with only 14 songs compared to Drake's 21, which makes a huge difference, as the whole idea behind making an album this long is to make sure those streaming numbers stay high up in the first place. And even despite how now multiple West Coast rappers have Drake wiped down as from the quality to the impact, and again, the thing Drake has always claimed, which are the numbers, even Tyler is winning against him in every single category now. Even beyond this, if we compare Drake to rappers who are decades into their careers like Eminem, his last album outperformed this Drake and Party record, and even funnier than this, just putting into perspective how much of a low Drake has reached. If we compare this collab album to another collab in Vulture's One, which had no support from the industry and was actively being prevented from staying on the charts and performing well, that still ended up outperforming this record from Drake and Party, and it did so for multiple days. And so really just putting into perspective how bad this album is doing. As the second day streams for this record were even worse as they decreased and were now in the 30 millions, it is showing just how bad all of this is going, especially when you consider that a record like GNX actually increased in streams on day 2 and got over 74 million. And so overall, what we can see clearly is that Drake is no longer competing with the top rappers and
this is gonna be the part where I give y'all my breakdown at the end. And this is the main thing, and this is what you know about great music. Either it's gonna keep going up or start going down. And with music nowadays, with him getting 50+ million in the first day and 30 million in the second day, it tell me it might be around like 18 the third day. And it start getting spooky after that. It might start getting spooky after that for this album. It might get spooky, and he didn't want to drop an album by itself. Why ain't drop an album by himself? He don't want to drop an album by himself. He's scared. He's scared. If every other artist is scared to drop music and songs because they drop snippets, he's scared to drop an album by himself. We can say that. Because with GNX, and that's a perfect example. This happens in movie theaters. It happens anywhere. If a movie's good, it happened like with the movie Friday. It can start off slow, but it should grow if it's a good movie. It'll be the opposite if it's a bad movie. They put it out with a big budget. The next day, it's going down. Here today, going tomorrow. It ain't got enough substance. You made the album for all the wrong reasons. You only putting Party on because somebody told you to. I ain't lying because honestly, you could have put Party on maybe 3-4 years ago and had some strength in this situation. Ain't nobody had your back because you ain't had nobody that you put on. So it is what it is at this point. You've been in the game for 10+ years and ain't got no heir apparent. And honestly, you only using Party at this point because now you need him. The same thing Joe Budden said about Drake. Like now you wanna respond and do all that stuff because now you need me. No, don't hit my phone now that you need me, bro. No, don't hit my phone now that you need me. Partynextdoor needed Drake for the last 10 years, bro. Now Drake need Party. Now he wanna do an album. How come he don't want to drop by himself? Now he want to do an album. This is what I be talking about with people, man. Alright, so don't forget to drop a like, y'all. Subscribe. And if you want more in-depth Drake and Kendrick Lamar breakdowns, make sure you click this button right here before it disappears. Ain't nobody told you they love y'all. I love y'all. I'm out, y'all.